Hello and welcome in to another episode of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. I'm Kyle Glaser alongside Mike Cameron, here to break down the Padres series against the Houston Astros, look ahead to their series against the Detroit Tigers, talk a little bit about Fernando Tatis Jr., the jumps he's made, and of course, we do need to discuss Luis Arraez, the very scary collision he had yesterday in Houston. Mike, we need to start with the Arraez collision. Obviously, very scary moment. Lay down a sacrifice bunt, ran to first base. Mauricio Dubon was over covering. They collided. Arraez went down in a heap, very clearly lost consciousness, was removed on a stretcher. Very scary moment for everyone involved. You were involved in one of the scariest collisions in Major League history, coincidentally at Petco Park when you and Carlos Beltran collided, diving for a ball in short right center field.
Yeah.
When you saw that collision, especially given your own personal experiences, just what went through your mind?
Uh, Look, that was probably the worst collision I've had. Obviously, it's the worst. I mean, it's one of the top five in the history of sports. I think if I look back on some of the numbers that they put up beside those things, and
Yeah.
that was just one. I did have one in Houston, man, where I probably had no business playing where I ran into Humberto Quintera
Yeah.
and my helmet did the same thing that Arises did, where when you run into somebody, you lose just like your sight line just for a quick minute there,
Yeah.
and your helmet pop off, and the back of your head hits the ground while you're in the air, like it's the last thing that hits the ground. So it's like a
Yeah.
jerk, and that was I had my legs did the same thing that his legs did, where they're together and you can't move. You're just your body's locked up, and it's just kind
Yeah.
of an out of body experience for a moment. And I looked around and I remember the stadium was like wavy, and I just told our trainer, I was like, let me sit up
Yeah.
and let me breathe for a minute and let me catch my breath. It just felt like somebody dropped a ton of bricks on my head. And I I probably forced the action of where I actually stayed in the game, and I probably shouldn't have been in the game because, at that point, after that was in 2009, so I know for a fact, dealing with some things like in '05 and going back because of what happened in '05. Now, what happened in San Diego, far as me with that collision, was like one of the freakiest things that you can possibly do. Where normally two outfielders don't dive either at the same time or a split second behind each other.
Yeah.
And I just took the brunt of that one. And that was just the fact that um, uh, it was just really dangerous because of where his head hit me at.
Oh yeah.
If I didn't have really high cheekbones, uh, probably uh, he probably would have entered to the realm of my temple area. So that could have been really dangerous.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for where he did hit me at, Kyle, because it's like one of the strongest bones in my body. But the impact was so enormous that it just took me out. They thought my neck was broke. He knocked my jaw off the hinge, so I couldn't really talk. There was just a lot of things going on, and that was the most dangerous part of this whole situation. In my situation, I didn't realize how many fractures in my face that I had, and I told I think I mistakenly, or I was under the influence of whatever they were giving me at the hospital. That I'll be back in 2 weeks. We're in a pennant race, and they all looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, I mean, I don't see nothing else wrong. I mean, but the fact that they had to cut my clothes off of me and put me in the hospital and put like emergency stuff in
Yeah.
my system, it's crazy. I was there. I mean, I spent 7 days in intensive care um, in San Diego at Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
Um, it was. I always say this to people. Ask me, is like, I've always been grateful to play and wear a major league uniform. I always used to get just a little almost like Christmas time every day to walk into a I never once took it for granted walking into a major league clubhouse and seeing your jersey hanging up and they show the back of your name on there. Like, that those like little things like that kept me in a very humble space, to understand how grateful, and how much I really enjoyed the simple things of the big leagues. Understanding that there's a job that you have to do in that game, but at the same time, for me, it was like those little things, man, that I enjoy, and just seeing my jersey hang up in there. Like it's every day. It's like, man, I get a chance to go play baseball. I did this since I was 5, 6 years old, and they're paying me for it. And so, so I'm grateful for those moments. I should have probably been playing baseball no more after that collision. The damage to my right eye obviously was very impactful, but somehow or another, I was able to go another 6, 7 years almost after that. Uh,
Mhm.
just to come back, the ability to come back and just come back the next year, really. And I still was going through some uh, impactful things that was going
Yeah.
on. I did had no time to work out. I lost about 40, 35 pounds. I was down like 170 some pounds.
Yeah.
Um, All season went long, and I just came back and just started playing baseball. Just a joy to play baseball. I had a new underface. I mean, I was like the $6 million man. I got all and I got all 9 plates and screws all in my face, tying me together. I did have some things that go on, but for the most part, man, I'm grateful. I thank God that why in the world would you send me to the place where I got hurt at? But I'm thankful for Kevin Towers and Bruce Bochy and them and everybody bringing me there to face those challenges right away.
Yeah.
There were a couple times that I did get a little gun shy playing,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I was able to get over a lot of the things that I felt like intimidated me, coming back from injury, and I came back and started playing the same old way. I just never
Yeah.
went into that little no man's land behind second base very often. I said I used to tell the pitchers, I'll pick the ball up, throw it in second base, and I hit your homer. How about that? So if we can allow me to deal with that situation like that, and then I can deal with the situation I dealt with in the matter of my fears or whatever it was that kept me from doing that. But I'm forever grateful once again for San Diego, man. It actually saved me, probably saved a lot of my fears and my times to be able to go back and play in the same place I got hurt at. And
Yeah.
man, I start back playing my same reckless, abandoned way. So, and also just dealing with certain things. I'm
Yeah.
very hopeful, that everything is good with Arise, man. We take
Yeah.
these concussions, slight concussions, anything very seriously now, dealing considering with the mental health issues and everything else. And
Yeah.
I heard he came back to the stadium
Yeah, so
after getting
the good news is, and I think it's important to mention this. So the good news is, obviously, it's a very, very scary scene. He collides with Dubon. Body goes limp, taken off on a stretcher. The Padres issued a statement shortly after that he'd been transported to Houston Methodist Hospital, and that he had full movement of his extremities. He was awake and alert, and everything was clear there. He came back after the game, walked into the clubhouse, was seen talking with teammates, did not speak with the media, but just the fact that he was awake, alert, and in a good enough place that he was able to come back and join his teammates at the end of the game was super promising. He's staying
yeah,
back in Houston for a little bit just to make
yeah,
sure everything's fine. The plan is for him to eventually join the team in Detroit. So obviously the initial diagnoses are promising, but you still want to
yeah,
just be extra cautious. But Mike, given your history and having
yeah.
lived this yourself, when you saw a video of Arraez's collision with Dubon, what was your reaction?
I mean, I always see, for some reason, Kyle, I see things now before they happen. Like I'm seeing them, I kind of cringe up real quick. And
Yeah.
I didn't think it was really serious until when he hit the ground, I saw his feet stay together and go limp and he rolled onto his side. I was like, oh my God, I've seen this so many. I've
Yeah.
replayed this back in my mind and seen it happen so many times and looking at myself deal with these type of things. And your first thing is, I know the first thing that I thought about is like, man, you got to get up. You got to get up. That was the first thing I think about. Um, I just got to get up so I can see myself and look around and see if everything's okay. And I saw Arise kind of like, just kind of just in a daze. And we know that the simplest thing can tip you off. And we don't have the protective, well, you do have a protective helmet on, but, it's just more subtle to come off more so than a football helmet.
Right.
And obviously, and when you hit the very back of your head, that's where you house all of your brain and everything. And when that thing
Yeah.
gets shook up, man, it's just like your systems are off and you're just trying to reboot your system as fast as you can.
Yeah.
But obviously it takes time for those things to take place. And man, I know how we think baseball is not a dangerous sport. It's obviously dangerous because you're getting hit with someone throwing a object at you, a projectile at you at 95, 100 miles an hour that could
Yeah.
do a lot of damage really quick when you're only 60 feet away. And when the guy releases the ball, it's 60 feet away. But we don't get a chance. We don't really run into people, can't run into catchers anymore, you know.
Yeah.
So, like those plays at first base are far and in between where those situations where the ball is probably in front of the runner and you may have to cross over and to throw it.
It's a total
Um,
freak situation. I mean, it's
yeah,
one of those
yeah,
things
yeah,
where, again, and no one's fault. I mean, it's just, it happens quickly. And again, just a scary situation where anytime you see someone go down like that, and look, the concern was very, very palpable. You could see it on looks of the players, the coaches, the entire stadium, everyone watching from home. I think anyone who's played a sport at any level has seen scary things. I grew up playing baseball competitively, but I also played
mm,
hockey as my second sport. And
mhm.
I remember having teammates go headfirst into boards and seeing someone
Oh,
taken off in a stretcher. I mean, it really, really messes with you, and it's hard to kind of get back into the game after that. To the Padres' credit, they came out and won the game 3-2. But
yeah,
this is a situation where, at the end of the day, it's a game. The score is almost irrelevant in the sense you hope Luis Arraez is okay. And again, by all accounts, the early diagnoses are that everything appears to be okay. As mentioned, the Padres' statement was that he was transported to the hospital for evaluation. He was stable, conscious, responsive, able to move his extremities. After the game, Mike Schultz talked a little bit about that. Everything appears to be good initially. You want to make sure and be extra careful, but it appears disaster was avoided. Again, we still
yeah,
need to see just trauma, concussion, anything like that. And I will say again, positive outcome it appears so far. But you kind of talked about this after an incident like this.
yeah,
Even if you're physically okay, once you healed physically, which took a long time,
yeah.
the mental side of it, you mentioned being a little bit gun shy, and just it takes a while to kind of, get back to not having that fear in the back of your head. I mean, what is that process like?
Well, um, for me, the challenge that I had was um, having people around me when I'm playing again. Obviously, mine was it was on the defensive side.
Right.
So having people around me kind of gave me a little bit of gun shy. I just noticed out of all the things that happened, I like automatically started like I didn't start doing this till I got to San Diego. Like I started sliding more when I got around players in the gap. I would slide and catch a ball,
Yeah.
just to kind of. I guess it was just like a automatic something in my body saying, protect yourself. I just started sliding. I started making these sliding catches. I stopped. I didn't go head first a whole lot, especially around players or were the two outfielders. Considerably when I came in, I
Yeah.
always slid because I didn't want anything to happen of that nature. My communication skills were A1 on point, and we still know that you can run into people, you know,
Yeah.
um, given the communication, considering how loud it is in places. But I make sure that I let the guy know that if I'm especially Giles at that time, like, hey, if I get the ball, I'm gonna go after it. You'll see me go after it first. If I don't think I can't get it, I'm always play behind you. If it's in front of us, like just go after it until you can get it, until you see me or whatever it is, and then just kind of adjust in that manner. But I look at the craziest thing happened to me the year before. The next year, I came back and won a Gold Glove. I mean,
Yeah,
that's just how much um, intention I put on to getting back and to
yeah.
mentally overcome some of those things. So it was I mean, look, I mean, I probably should have won the doggone comeback player of the year too, but
Oh yeah,
they gave
definitely.
they gave it a Nomar because he hit like 309 or something like that or something. But but at the same time, man, just coming back and having an impact on the game and
Yeah,
having an impact on my team um, and it was important for me to come back because I didn't want, for one, my kids see the last thing they saw was me being carried off a baseball field on a stretcher,
yeah,
or the people who root for you, the people in the stands or whatever it is, just my teammates. I was like, man, I gotta find a way back, given the opportunity. And that was all I was thinking about. And once I got back to playing, it was like, okay, how can I protect myself and still play aggressive style baseball? It
yeah,
just understanding that. And I just had this little slide thing that I had going on now. Um, and it will take a little time for a rise. I'm pretty sure even him being at first base, if he's at first base and now he has to reach over and try to catch a ball, he'll be thinking about these type of things like that. You can't really plan for how guys are gonna, move around the bases, and everything happens so fast, and your job is to try to um, play aggressive, but also to protect yourself so you don't be out injured for a long time
right.
because that impacts your team. But in this case right here, it's just a matter that this was something that Luis could not avoid
Yeah,
because he's playing the game the way he's supposed to play it. Quote unquote, as everyone say, play the game the way he's supposed to play. He's just playing very aggressive style baseball,
yeah.
and things happen, and hopefully he comes back. But I'm sure it'll get him a little bit mentally when those throws come about, or he's going to bunt again, and something like that similar is going to happen. You're going to try to peel off a little bit more probably so now, and just he's going to have that in the back of his mind. But he still will be able to come back and play the type of game that he would love to play.
You mentioned the sliding. Was that something that you just did the next year or two, or was that the way it was the entire rest of your career until you retired?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I just, I started looking back at some of my, defensive highlights, and I was like, man, I didn't really think about it. I did start going into a slide a whole lot more.
Yeah,
Obviously, I only played after San Diego. Let's see, San Diego 2 years and 2 years in, or so 6 more years, and
yeah,
one of the main culprits. I did it a lot in my last in Milwaukee. I had big right fielders. I had Corey Hart on one side of me, and he could run.
yeah,
I had the last guy I had was Mike Stanton on the side of me, and I look, I'm pretty big. I'm 6'2", 210, 215. This guy is like 6'4", 6'5",
yeah,
240, 250. I'm not finna run into this guy. And but I made it my case to make sure that I talk a lot um, about how I was gonna go about after the ball,
yeah,
and really just survey the field a lot better than I've done in the past.
yeah. No, absolutely. And again, we'll see when Luis Arraez is able to come back. Obviously, you want him to come back as soon as possible. Beyond the fact that he's one of the best hitters in baseball and an integral part of
Yeah,
this Padres team, just for himself, just for his health. Um, Again, we still need to see, get final word. There's all sorts of things where initial diagnoses can come back one way and then something develops later. So you want to
yeah,
be cautious. You want to be careful, especially when you're talking about, head injuries. Mike Schilt mentioned that when he woke up, he didn't know where he was, which is always something that's
yeah.
very, very scary. So first and foremost, Luis Arias's health is paramount here. You don't want to rush anyone back before they're able to be the best versions of themselves and just healthy and safe on the diamond. So that's first and foremost. Obviously, everyone hopes that he is able to get back as soon as possible. Again, independent of what he means for the Padres record, which is a lot, but just for himself
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just getting back doing what he loves. But so far, the news so far has been good. We'll see if
Yeah,
it
yeah,
continues.
definitely.
All right, Mike, we're going to take a quick break, hear a few words from our sponsors. Then we're going to dive into the Padres series, some of the other big events that took place during the Astros series, and look ahead to their matchup against the Tigers. We will be right back after this word.
All right.
Kratz, do you like spending an hour on grocery shopping?
Nope. Speed up the process, please.
Introducing Hungry Root to the FT fam.
Now we can all be bougie with our own personal shopper to handle the food shopping, including Rex, based on what you're looking to put in your body.
I stack my Hungry Root box with items like gluten-free, dairy-free blueberry waffles for breakfast, shrimp veggie bowls for lunch, and a little filet mignon with potatoes and broccolini for dinner.
You can also say just, hey, Hungry Root, I eat paleo, or I'm vegetarian, and they load up your cart with personalized recommendations.
And those recs keep evolving as they learn about what you're into. Also, no BS, as in no artificial sweeteners or preservatives in any of Hungry Root's food. You're going to love Hungry Root as much as FT does. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/FT and use code FT. That's hungryroot.com/FT, code FT to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life.
All right, welcome back to Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. Kyle Glaser alongside Mike Cameron. All right, Mike, before the break, we talked a lot about Luis Arraez, the scary injury he suffered. Overall, the Padres against the Astros, they dropped the first two, losing on Friday night and Saturday night, came back to win the finale on Sunday. Fernando Tatis Jr. hitting the tie-breaking home run in the seventh inning, continuing his MVP caliber season. On the one hand, look, yeah, the Padres lost the series. It happens. You go on the road, you face a good team. Give the Astros credit. On Friday, they came out, they just pounded Kyle Hart, 10 hits and 5 runs in 5 innings. Cam Smith, 2 homers, 4 extra base hits total for the Astros. Again, just tip your cap, give their offense credit. And the Saturday game, Michael King on the mound with a 2-0 lead. You feel pretty good. And again, Christian Walker came up, hit a big home run. Yeah. And the Astros took the lead against a great reliever in Jeremiah Estrada. Again, it happens. So be it. I do think it's important for a team when you're on the road, you drop the first 2, you're facing a sweep, to come out and just win the finale. And we saw the Padres do it really dramatic fashion again. Luis Arraez goes down in the first inning, and it's a very, very scary moment. And I thought the team showed some fortitude coming back, scoring a run in that same inning. Right after that, Manny Machado works a walk. They come back, get a run. In the third inning, Fernando Tatis leads off with a triple, comes around to score. And then again, 7th inning, big moment, big game. Tatis comes up, hits the game-winning home run in the 7th. The bullpen locks it down from there. Just a very, very good win. Way to finish the series on a high note. What were your kind of big takeaways from the series? And specifically, I thought for me, it was Fernando Tatis, the way he stepped up in the finale. This is what MVPs do. It's not just about putting up big numbers. It's coming up in big spots, and he's doing it again and again and again.
Yeah, look, I mean, he is literally carrying the team right now at the top of the lineup. I love to see him at the top of the lineup. I know they like to hit supposedly the best hitter in the 2-hole, but I just think that the electric ability that he has, getting off at the top and getting him going right away when there's a chance. Like, this guy is locked in, so you got to throw him strikes. If you put him on base, he's stealing bags. So, and then you have a guy like Arraez who has ultimate bat control with that, with Tatis stealing bags. You got to throw Arraez strikes. Otherwise, you're going to have to face Sheets, and then you got Machado coming up. I mean, so, and these guys are swinging very well too. So that's a dangerous first 3 or 4 guys in your lineup that you could be down 1 or 2 runs right out the top. But Machado's swinging Tatis is not swinging at balls right now, so it makes it extra tough. And when he hits your balls now, they're not stopping in somebody's glove. They're going out the ballpark, man. So, I mean, you said it right at the gate. Like, he is actually putting it together, MVP type caliber right now. He has to be. If the talks are starting right now, then he is definitely in that top 3, if not 1 or 2, as what he's doing consistently with his bat.
Yeah, I mean, just to put in perspective right now, Fernando Tatis Jr. leads the National League with 8 home runs. He has as many walks as strikeouts while doing that. 12 walks, 12 strikeouts. He's hitting for average. He's hitting for power. He's stealing bases. Again, it's early, so you don't want to go crazy with season-long projections, but he's on pace for a 50-50 season right now, which just tells you how hot he's been to start. And I
Yeah.
think the biggest thing with him too, and you kind of touched on this, is the strikeout rate's down. He's cut his strikeout rate by about 10%. He's not chasing and he's not missing
Yeah.
pitches to hit when he gets them. And I thought ESPN did a really nice graphic on Sunday Night Baseball that showed how he's made some adjustments. He's standing a little further back in the box. His feet are a little closer together, and he's letting the ball travel more. He's seeing pitches deeper. He's still making contact out in front of the plate, but it's a little bit closer in front of the plate. And just the extra quarter of a second, just seeing the ball travel a little bit deeper where he's standing in the box, it's helping him. It's helping his pitch recognition. It's helping his strike zone discipline, and it's helping him really put a hurt on the ball when he gets a pitch to hit. We talked before the season that Fernando Tatis Jr., he's been around so long and has been in the headlines for so long. You feel like he's much older than he is.
Yeah.
He's in his age 26 season. He is just now hitting his prime. And we are seeing this with the adjustments he's made and the performance he's putting together so far. And I go back to, yesterday against the Astros, that first inning leadoff walk came back from a 1-2 count. He's been doing this a lot. He's coming back in counts, which is something he didn't used to do before. He would expand a little bit. You'd see him get a little jumpy. Now he's patient. He's waiting for his pitch. Again, third inning, leadoff triple, get the offense going, puts himself in position to score. And again, seventh inning, tie game, hits an absolute bomb to center field. He is changing games. He is putting the team on his back. We're seeing everything come together. He's becoming a better player individually, and that's allowing him to put the team on his back.
Most definitely. I mean, look, we all know what type of talent he is already. I think I think he's feeling healthy. I think he's very healthy, and a very healthy Fernando Tatis makes for a El Nino storm coming to a city near you. I mean, like and he's having fun too. So he don't have any of the controversial things. He got all that stuff behind him. So he's free of mind of just playing the game that he loves to play at the level that he's able to play it, where it's just allowed Schilt and the rest of the guys in the lineup to kind of do their thing to continue to play well as they're doing. He plays a great right field. He's definitely a threat in the outfield also. He takes away extra base hits. He throws a ball 100 miles an hour, all over everywhere. So and he's very, very like skilled and he's skilled and dynamic because he understands how to play the outfield as well as he did at shortstop too. So he's made a very, very large impact on this team, where that is one guy you don't have to worry about. The only thing that you have to worry about him is maintaining and making sure that he stays healthy, so they're able to take this on over the course of the season.
Yeah, he's made a lot of great catches in right field already this year, as well as the course of his career. But last night, the sliding catch, and then from his butt, while he's still sliding forward, throwing accurately to first base in the air, was like, are you kidding me? I mean, that's a level of athleticism. But I think what's great too is you see those highlight reel plays he makes. He also does little things. There have been a lot of times where, runner could go first to third and they're holding up because they're afraid of his arm. He's strong, he's accurate, and that's one of those little things that makes a difference and changes the game. It's an entirely different situation if you've got runners on first and second with one out versus first and third with one out. His arm, his ability to gun guys down really at any base, it really changes the entire dynamic for his pitchers. It changes the entire dynamic for his offense, and it's just such a game-changing talent. And I think it's just fun to see someone like this blossom. And again, Mike, you've played with plenty of great players, and you see the difference. They're the guys who they go up and they put up big numbers, but it's about baseball is such a situational game that when you're able to deliver in those biggest moments when your team needs you most, that's what elevates you from, hey, this guy's really, really good, really, really skilled, to this is an MVP.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, I've got a chance to play with guys that play at this level, and the way they're able to maintain it over a 6.5 month season, 7 months, it's amazing. Just day after day. Like I think this year Tatis has a 21 on game base streak to start the season, which those things just don't happen. It just don't happen. That means that he's doing everything well. I mean, that means he's seeing the ball very well, because obviously either walking or getting a hit or hitting the ball hard somewhere just about every time he comes up there. And you just have to be like grateful that you get a chance to see a player of this caliber at this time. And like to take nothing away from the other guys on the team. Obviously Manny has this capability also, but more so now I think it's just Tatis, because it's the youth and the energy that he provides for this team over the course of time, over the course of the season. And if he stays healthy, man, we know for a fact that he's going to be top 5 MVP caliber player.
Absolutely. And I think it's just been so important. I talk about coming up in the biggest moments, but it's also the biggest situations. The Padres have had a lot of injuries. We talked about
Yeah.
this a lot before the season. This is an organization that does not have a lot of depth in terms of guys at the AAA level they can pull up from. And they've already stretched it about as thin as they can. So
Yeah.
we are at April 21st. Less
Yeah.
than a month into the season, the Padres have already used 31 different players.
Yeah.
Jackson Merrill getting hurt, Jake Cronenworth getting hurt, but also then Brandon Lockridge, the backup, getting hurt. Jason Hayward went on the IL over the weekend. I
Yeah.
mean, they had Connor Joe playing center field, a position he has never played before. And then Tirso Ornelas replaced him in center field. And I've covered Tirso since he was an A-ball. No one has ever thought he's a center fielder. He's a big boy right left fielder. But I mean, that's what they're down to. And
Yeah.
we're seeing, and I want to be clear, Tatis is not the only reason they're 16-6, the best record in
No.
baseball. Machado's been off to a great start. Gavin Sheets
Yeah.
has been absolutely fantastic. Had another great weekend with stinging balls left and right. Even his outs were hard.
Yeah.
The starting pitching, for the most part, has been really good. The bullpen has been insane. I mean, this is the stat that blows your mind. More than ERA, more than strikeouts. The bullpen has relinquished a lead one time this season. Once. There are teams we see the bullpen does it twice in the same game, 3 times in the same game.
Yeah.
I mean, when the Padres have a lead and the bullpen is in, the game is over. And that is incredibly powerful. Even that one time they relinquished a lead, it was because Adrian Morejon entered with runners on first and third, and the runner came home, and he still limited the damage to 1 run. It was an inherited runner situation. So there have been so many players that have stepped up to help make this happen. It is getting trickier and trickier. Now you talk about Arraez will be out for some period of time. And really now you're losing your 3 best left-handed hitters in Arraez, Merrill, and Cronenworth. No disrespect to Gavin Sheets, who's been fantastic, but I think those are the 3 lefties who, when everyone's healthy, probably are the top 3 lefties in the lineup. It is starting to get stretched a little bit. I mean, Mike, how do you see the situation right now where this team, they've already used 31 players and they're going to have to use another one here very shortly once they make a roster move for Arraez?
Yeah, Kyle, it's tough, considering, you just said that they're stretched. You don't know if you have to possibly go out and scour the waiver wire to see if you can pick up a guy or two to be able to help out in some of these situations that are taking place. I mean, they've now pretty much kind of turned Iglesias into an everyday player. You called up. You got Yuri Gurriel playing first base on an everyday basis now, or Gavin Sheets per se, if you want to use them in the DH or flip-flop those guys.
Well, now both those guys are going to have to be starters. We've seen throughout the year that they've been platooning as the DH, and all of a sudden, Gurriel and Sheets are both going to have to be in the lineup every day, as DH first base type. So, it's guys who were in one role have to move up into a different role. Then the guys in AAA start having to come up to the big leagues.
Yes, the good thing is the guys that they're putting in these roles already have had experience doing this on an everyday basis. It's just that at this point right now in their career, is it exposing them because they're there every day, or can they handle what they used to do on a daily basis, and how does that impact the team moving forward? Because when you start having to bring up younger guys per se, or guys from trips, they're probably in more or not of a starting role. They're into actually platooning or going in emergency situations and doing different things of that nature. So, but these guys have been vaulted into these roles now where, you're hopefully that they can continue to handle the everyday weight of the season until some of your guys start to come back. But also, remain productive because look, as well as San Diego's played, they are still in the heart of
Dogfight.
a dogfight in this division. You know, you can't fall back too much. And obviously losing those players is impactful. So you're relying a lot on Tatis and Machado and even Bogarts to continue to help out and even giving a little more, having Sheets step up a little bit more. Although these guys have done a great job in doing that, but they've done it with a valid, a really good team effort on all phases of the game right now, and that's one reason why they're sitting at the top of the NL West, and they're having the success they have. And when we see these certain type of games where they come back and you're getting your big punch from your superstar guys in Tatis and Machado, like, look, the one thing about Machado is like we take for granted is for how long he's been so good, and he's always been in the middle of everything that goes on, everywhere he's been. So, and he's been very productive, and that's why I call him one of the pillars in the lineup, because he understands what it is. He know that Tatis has elevated his game a whole lot more, and he's just a stabilizer of that team in the lineup. So it's very critical for him to stay healthy and stay on the field and stay on the lineup also.
There's no question. The Padres have showed incredible resilience thus far. They're 16-6, the best record in baseball, but it's only a half game up on the Dodgers, who are 16-7.
Yeah.
The Giants right behind them. The Diamondbacks are right behind them. 4 of the top 6 records in the National League are held by teams in the National League West. We knew this was a good division coming in. It has lived up to it so far. And I do think that as much as this team has been super resilient, it's starting to feel like they're threading the needle a little bit. Like, if either Tatis or Machado gets hurt, they're in real trouble. They really, really, really cannot afford to lose anyone else. And we'll see. Hopefully they're able to stay healthy moving forward. They do have I would call it a tricky series coming up against the Tigers in Detroit.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, the good news is the Padres get to avoid Tarek Skubal. They're not going to face the series, who is the reigning American League Cy Young Award winner and probably the most, him, Chris Sale. I mean, there's so many really good lefties, but he's one of the top 2 or 3 pitchers that if you can avoid them, you want to avoid them. They're just one of those guys that if they're on the mound, the other team's probably winning that day. And that going in, that's just how good they are. So avoiding him is certainly a good thing. But this is a really good young Tigers team who has a lot of players I think are very underappreciated. The Padres will see Reese Olson, who I think is probably the most underrated starting pitcher in the majors, the best pitcher no one's heard of. Kerry Carpenter, I also think, is the best position player no one has heard of. This guy has been one of the best hitters in the American League since he's been healthy and doesn't get anywhere near enough love. You add in Spencer Torkelson is finally figuring it out. You have Riley Green, one of the best young position players in the American League, and I'd say baseball as a whole. There's a lot of good young talent here. This was a playoff team last year, and you can speak to this. Comerica Park, that is a graveyard. That is not an easy place to play, especially if it's cold. Huge outfields. I mean, what are your experiences in playing Comerica Park, and how would you advise a team that is not used to playing there going in and handling that park?
Well, the first thing I want to know is, what is the weather like? Because that's the number one thing when you go into Detroit. I played in the original Comerica Park, where it looked like something they made from like the 18 or 1900s ball. Because it was so big, man, so big that Juan Gonzalez turned down a $150 million contract not to go there because he didn't want to play it in that big place. But I feel like it still plays big, but also when it warms up in Detroit, there's a little bit of a jet stream that goes out of there. The only person that made the park look small was obviously Miguel Cabrera. It didn't matter where it didn't matter. I feel like that can happen for a guy like Tatis also. He can handle any ballpark, but that does have an impact on what type of team you have. And but these guys are, when I say these guys, I'm meaning the Padres are a team that hits balls down the first base line, hit balls in the gaps. They do everything. And this works out good for guys like Bogarts and Iglesias and, even Manny Machado. I look at Manny Machado more of a doubles guy than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always lacing things up. And then, Tatis can leave anywhere.
Yeah.
But the key to going into Detroit right now is that you cannot take them for granted. And obviously, I don't think no one takes them for granted anymore because they do have these good young players. And the guy you mentioned first, he is actually really good. I mean, I saw him pitch against someone, and I didn't know he was that good. Like till I saw his. No, not Scooble.
Reese Olson.
Yeah, Reese Olson. He's got
good.
like a nasty breaking ball, and he throws like 100. So, I mean, so you know that you're going into a dogfight, and these young guys are hungry, and they're gonna play well, man. Detroit, you cannot sleep on their team. And the one thing about it is too, for some reason, Kerry Carpenter has only been facing righties, and like the numbers that he put up, it's time to find out if he can hit lefties or not. But I guess that's a bad thing for the Padres because they're gonna have 3 righties going against them, and so you're gonna be able to see Carpenter in all 3 of those games. So it's up for a good series coming up.
Yeah, the good news is the weather's warmish in Detroit. It actually looks like we're in the 70s today.
Oh,
high at 74. It's going to be highs of 65 on Tuesday, 68 Wednesday. The lows are going to be in the 50s. So
yeah,
I think too what's nice about Comerica Park is it plays very similarly to Petco in a lot of ways. If you're a team that's hard line drives up the middle of the field, you're going to be fine. And that's the style of baseball the Padres play offensively. And again, I think it's going to be a good matchup. Anytime you go on the road facing a playoff team and a good, young, hungry team, you just want to go out and have a good series. If they can take 2 of 3 or, even get out of there, winning one of the games, and get back home for a homestand, you'll be in good shape. There's going to be some interesting pitching matchups. Randy Vasquez goes to the Padres today, who has been their second best pitcher so far this year. The control isn't great, but the name of the game is preventing runs, and he's been great at that. He goes up against Keider Montero, a good young arm for the Tigers. Nick Pivetta goes Tuesday against Jack Flaherty. That's going to be a really, really good pitching matchup.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Wednesday, the getaway day, Kyle Hart will be throwing for the Padres. So maybe Kerry Carpenter sits that game. We'll see. But the Padres face Reese Olson. So again, I think especially, facing Flaherty and Olson, it'll be an interesting test for an offense that, is just missing a lot of key guys. And we did see that during the Houston series. This Padres offense was not the same juggernaut that we have seen earlier in the season. We just keep going and going and going and going. Again, 3 runs, 2 runs. The Friday game, they fell behind early, weren't able to come back. So this offense, while they do some things well, they still don't strike out. They're winning the battle with 2 strikes. They're getting some big home runs. This is not the offense that was turning out 7, 8, 9 runs like we saw in a lot of games earlier in the year. They're limping a little bit right now. So I think this will be an interesting test against these pitchers in this ballpark, just given the state of the roster.
Yeah, I mean, also too, Kyle, look, I feel like San Diego is built to play any type of ball anyway. Like they play this type of ball. One of the biggest things I've seen this year is like they don't really make a lot of mistakes either. So the defense has been very good. And when you prevent, teams from getting extra outs, and you don't walk a lot of people, you're going to give yourself a good chance to win ball games. Just knowing the type of players that you have offensively that are going in on a nightly basis that can get the job done. So, kudos to the team, in that aspect that they've been able to, take care of the baseball and also prevent guys from getting on base free. I mean, so, with those things, they tend to add up to very positive results over the course of a game and also over the course of a series. And if you get a lead going into the latter innings, that the bullpen is devastating. You don't score against them. And then you got Suarez on the back end who's been dominant in any facet that you can look at dating back to last year pretty much. So, they're in a good space. I mean, Schilt is in a good spot. He's just trying to manage the damage that's been, happening to his team injury wise. And hopefully that, they can continue to carry it on out.
Absolutely. No, we'll see again. The Padres have withstood every setback so far this year. They will look to continue doing so here against Detroit. Then they come home for a homestand, kick it off against the Tampa Bay Rays on Friday. Mike, any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Only one final thought. I look, I gotta say this. I find it highly funny and interesting that Maldonado is raking to a degree that he hasn't hit in like 2 or 3 years, man. And now the guy gets over here with the Padres. It's like, I just think it's the beach life every day. He's rejuvenated, and I mean, look, he's contributing, and we know what type of player he is defensively to be able to help the team out. It's just that he's still going, man. And I just started looking at his stats, like, you know what, Machado, he's actually Maldonado is actually holding his own, man. That's a good thing. That's a good sign for this team right here. That's when you know everything is going well for the San Diego Padres.
The magic of Victor Rodriguez. I feel like Victor Rodriguez should get a bonus if Martin Maldonado hits above 250. Like, I mean, this is like double magic. No, so Martin Maldonado yesterday 2 for 4, and he hit an absolute bomb right before the Tatis home run.
Yes.
Jake Myers robbed him at the wall. That was an incredible catch by Jake Myers. But I mean, I'm like, who is this dude? Like, hitting line drives into the outfield, hitting bombs to left center. And we talked about needing those contributions to the bottom of the lineup. And again, Elias Diaz has always been an offense-first catcher. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of his big hits, it's like, okay, yeah, I see that. You know, he's capable of double-digit home runs. But yeah, it's funny. We talked about the White Sox and how they can't really develop hitters, and Gavin Sheets comes over here and good things. But Martin Maldonado hit 119 last year with the White Sox.
I know. 119. That's so hard to do. That is so hard to do.
And now he's out here playing. And by the way, Guaranteed Rate Field is a hitter's park.
Very
hitter
friendly.
Petco, which is not a hitter's park at all. but you know, it's funny. I've seen it, right? I mean, it's that Victor Rodriguez influence where you're at the game, you're watching him up close, his swings, you know, it's being in the press box, being down the field. And you see it's just that short, compact swing, you know, just line drives, drop him in front of the outfielders, and then every now and then he gets a ball he can really get into, like we saw yesterday. And it's just simplify the approach. You know, don't try to do something you're not. Don't try to be something you're not. If Martin Maldonado just keeps dropping line drive singles from the outfielders all year, the Padres are in great shape. That's all they need him to do.
I mean, literally,
give him credit. He's doing it.
What that does is, if he's hitting at the bottom of the lineup, guess who's coming up to the top? That means there's more opportunities for the guy we know, or your hottest guy is coming to the plate a lot more. So, I mean, that's a big thing for the team.
Absolutely. So no, we will see if he keep it up. But I'm serious. If Martin Maldonado hits above 250, Victor Rodriguez there's a lifetime contract, like a massive bonus and a lifetime contract, because that is like God's work right there.
So. Most definitely, man. I'm telling you, it's something when guys go to San Diego to get rejuvenated. It's the air. I mean, it's like, when you play at 70 degrees every single day, man, your body, I mean, when you start to get older, your body is preserved when you play in this type of weather all the time. I mean, we could complain about it robbing a few home runs here or there, man, but your body overall is very important over the course of a season. And, you know, San Diego regulates all temperatures, man, and it's sunny every day there too. So, I mean, it's a good thing. And look, I can't say enough about, you know, I think there was a guy that reached out on me on Twitter. He called him the Friar, something like the fans, you know, they make sure they want, like, hey, we're these people right here, you know, but the fans in San Diego have been awesome. I mean, I don't think I've just been looking around. I don't think I've seen a place, maybe the Dodgers, that sell out every night, man, or got at least 33 to 35,000 people in the stands on every single night. And that's a beautiful
Padres are getting 43. I mean, that's what's been amazing.
40. Wow.
So the Padres have since 2021, they have been in the top 5 in attendance every year. But this year, it's been even more than what we've seen in recent years. Monday nights, Tuesday nights. There was a Wednesday afternoon game. School's in session in April. Sold out, 44,000 fans. You know, against the Cubs Tuesday night in April, they had 47,000. I mean, this is a team that has become the heartbeat of the city. And this is a franchise that has turned into one of the most exciting teams in baseball. And with that, they have one of the best home field advantages in baseball. And I talked about this on a show I did last week where, I mean, if you had said 10 years ago, so I say this as someone who was a national writer for 8 years and has covered games in almost every major league stadium. If you ask me what are the best home field advantages, what are the wildest, most rowdy, insane, loyal, passionate hometown fans? It's the Phillies,
Yeah.
the Yankees, the
Yeah.
Dodgers, and the Padres.
Yeah.
Those four above the Red Sox, above the Cubs, above all these other iconic franchises. 10 years ago, if you said the Padres were going to be in that group with the Phillies, Yankees, and Dodgers, people would have looked at you like you were insane.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now, and it's been this way for this is now the 5th season of this, and it's just
Yeah.
growing. It's
Yeah.
not like it's a 1-year fluke where they're just showing up. They should look. 2021 did not go well. The fans showed up. 2023 did not go well. The fans showed up. And they also showed up in 2022, 2024, 2025. They're showing up, rain or shine, win or lose, April or August, Monday or Saturday, promotion or no promotion.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it has been truly incredible to see and watch the city and the stadium experience transform. And look, give credit. I mean, this is Peter Seidler's legacy, what he's done. Eric Grupner, the CEO, has done a fantastic job on the business side. And look, AJ Preller has had some pluses, some minuses, but ultimately, if you're going to give him, blame him for the failures, you have to credit him for the successes as well. And, building a team like this that generates this interest, he gets credit too. So it's incredible what the organization has done.
And you don't have to worry about these players leaving no time soon. You got these young guys all signed up for long term. So that's always a good thing, as we look into the future.
Yeah, no question. And that's very, very different. As I talk about with Heath Bell, for the Padres for many, many years, it was, okay, we have this player, but when's he leaving? With the exception, in fairness, of Tony Gwynn and Trevor Hoffman. But for the most part, if you had a good player, you knew it was a 3-4 year thing max, then you wouldn't be able to afford him. So there's no question things have changed. We're seeing a great team on the field, the best record in baseball with an MVP candidate at the top. We're seeing one of the most ruckus fan bases in baseball. And now we're seeing a team that, continues to overcome adversity, and we'll see if they're able to continue doing it. We have this 3-game series against the Tigers. Then they come home to Petco Park, kick off a homestand against the Rays. Again, they're 12-1 at home. It's been an electrifying home experience. We'll see if they're able to keep it up. Mike, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun as always. We appreciate you providing your expertise and your insight.
Thanks a lot, Kyle. Always good, baby.
All right, that'll do it for another episode of Friar Territory here on the Foul Territory Network. Go ahead and give us a review on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, whatever platform you're listening on and watching. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe, reach out to Mike and I on Twitter. Let us know what you're seeing, what you're feeling, how you're liking the show. For Mike Cameron, I'm Kyle Glaser. Thanks for watching and listening. See you later this week.